you guys can hear me. So if you can, wherever you are connecting from, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Twitter, please just let me know where you are connecting from, and so that I can. All right, that's good. I see it's up on Twitter. I want to be sure that it's up on Instagram. So, guys on Instagram, if you can hear me, if you can see me, can you just please indicate? And then the people on the radio, if you can hear me, if you can hear me on radio, please just say hi so I know you're there. I'm going to allow us a couple of minutes before I start to broadcast. I just want to be sure. Okay, so I'm sure it's live on I can see that we're live on Twitter. So let's see what's happening on let's see what's happening on Instagram. See, we're live on Twitter. Yeah, so if you can hear me on the radio, can you please just say hi on the radio? And if you can hear me on Instagram, can you please just say hi on Instagram? So I'm sure you can hear me. All right, so welcome to When Men Talk with Noruwa Edopolo. It's really my pleasure, and thank you for for making this very, very first edition. In a very interesting way, we're making history. So thank you so very much for making this edition of When Men Talk with Noruwa Edopolo. Now, the forecast is that we have all entered into a new normal, or the next normal, as somebody said recently in a webinar I attended. So this broadcast is part of my new normal, engaging with you for us to have conversations about the issues that matter to you. Issues of faith, business, relationships, and just about everything else in between. Now, we believe that there are answers that give life and that embolden us rather than allow us to give in to fear and all manner of uncertainties. So, who is Noruwa Edopolo? I'm a man, as you can see. I'm married to one wife, and a lovely wife for that matter. I'm blessed with children, 5 wonderful children, and my life finds expressions in various dimensions. So, for example, I'm a pastor, I'm a business coach, I'm a business mentor, I'm a relationship coach. Now, typically, every session of When Men Talk with Noruwa Edopolo, on every session, we'll discuss a topic of interest. Sometimes we'll have subject matter experts join us. We'll respond to your questions and your comments. And then we'll generally have a great time learning and helping each other in this journey of life. And you can join via Instagram Live. You can join my Instagram handle is at Noruwa Edopolo as one word. So you can actually follow me on Instagram so that you can see what's happening. You can join via the online radio, mixlr.com/Noruwa Edopolo. You can also join from there. And hopefully, with time, we should be able to do this across multiple devices, across multiple networks. Right now, you can join us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm broadcasting this to about 2 or 3 pages on Facebook, so you have a variety of places where you can join us from. Now, it's very important that you, the listeners, are my co-producers. So you can make suggestions on topics for us to discuss. You can contribute during the program by, sending in your, chatting or whatever it is. Of course, I must insist here that we must always strive to be constructive. That's very, very key. Now, on this very first edition, I'd like us to discuss the concept of discovering your sweet spot. the concept of discovering your sweet spot. That's what I really want us to focus on. Discovering your sweet spot. All right? So on this edition, let's talk about your sweet spot. Now, your sweet spot, when I checked it up, interestingly, I got a definition. It says that, the sweet spot is that part or surface that gives the most power, for the least effort. For example, when hitting a ball. So if you're a sports person and maybe, lawn tennis, table tennis, golf, any of those, sports that you hit something, even football. The sweet spot is that point on, whether it's on the bat, on the racket, on the golf club, or your foot, as the case may be, where when you hit, you go long distance, minimal effort. That's what they call a sweet spot in sports, at least in sports. But others have defined it as the spot where your passion, your ability, and money converge. Passion, that which you love to do, that which you would, you could even do for free. You're passionate about it. Ability, that which you can do. You're skilled to do it. Maybe you've been trained for it. Maybe you've acquired the ability. And then of course, money means that there is an audience willing and able to pay for that service that you are offering. So anytime you find those three things, if you were to draw circles, the point at which your passion, intersects with your ability and the ability to generate income, that point is what you call your sweet spot. Yet others have defined it as the spot where your gift, your passion, and the problem you most want to solve converge. You know how it is. That nagging problem that you just find yourself, you are constantly, working on it. You can't just let it go. It doesn't leave you. The problem that you feel that this is the problem I must solve. Yet still, others have defined it as a spot where your passion, your gift, your personality, and your life experience, where they all converge. Now, whichever way you look at it, the sweet spot talks about a meeting point of passion, ability, money, or the problem you want to solve. What I want to do briefly today is to share with you a simple way to observe yourself and to design and create the next steps that will get you from here to there, where you really want to be. Now, if you're just joining us, this is When Men Talk with Noruwa Edopolo. It's a program where we talk about issues that bother men. We talk about, the challenges that men face, and we try to profile solutions and give tips that you can actually take away from the program and begin to do something with. All right. So why did I choose this topic? I chose this topic because I believe that this lockdown has or should have allowed a certain level of introspection on your part. I imagine that, busy. But here you are, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Somewhere along this lockdown, you must have sat down and said, but hold on. What am I really doing with my life? Where am I going? What's all this about? You must have thought about it. You must have, had it in your mind, some introspection. And who knows, maybe you've come to a conclusion that you need to change course and you've been wondering, how do I go about it? Maybe you've come to the conclusion that, things are not going exactly as you expected them to go. So how do I go about it? All right. That's why I chose this topic as a starting point on this very day. Of course, as a breadwinner, you cannot afford to fluff around anymore. That's the truth, because the bills must be paid. So you must have direction and focus in your life. Let me say this, that your sweet spot is not static. It will change over time as life happens to you. So it's not going to be fixed. So this is my sweet spot. The truth is, the things that I was passionate about 20 years ago are not exactly what I'm passionate about right now. I was sharing with my daughters, my children recently. I said to them, do you know that there was a time in my life where I had cartons upon cartons upon cartons of comics? So at one time in my life, comics were a passion. At another time in my life, I used to love, detective, novels. I would read and read and read and read, intelligence and all those kind of things. I used to read a lot of those kind of things. But today, you won't catch me dead reading any of those things. I just do not have the passion. I cannot read 10 pages of fiction today. I don't know why, but that is the reality that I see. So your sweet spot will change over time. Unfortunately, many will go through life never quite discovering their sweet spot. They just allow the environment to shape them. All right? But I hope that I can get you thinking and searching. Of course, the 30 minutes or so that we have will not be enough. I'm just hoping that I can trigger something in you that will then, you can then take away and, develop and see what will become of you. I'm just hoping that I can trigger something in you, okay? So like I said, this is When Men Talk with Norua Idopolo. This program will air every evening, by God's grace, every Monday evening from 6:30 to 7. I try to keep it crisp, straight to the point. Of course, I would expect at some point, you want to make your comments, you want to ask your questions. Please feel free to do so. You can chat via any of the different platforms that you can hear me on. So I like that definition that talked about gifts, passion, and problems. All right. So let's dig a little bit further into that. By gifts, I mean those things that are inherent, your talent, the stuff that comes easily to you, the things you don't have to struggle with to make happen. So for me, for example, one of the gifts I have is that of speaking. Speaking, teaching, it comes to me naturally. I can do it, wake up from my sleep. I mean, it's a gift that God has given to me. I noticed something that as a consultant, the easiest part of my consulting work is when I'm engaging with clients, asking questions, teaching, facilitating, mentoring, coaching. I do that very well. Guess what? The most difficult part of my consulting work is when I then have to write a report. All right? Now, typically, at the end of the day, I will do a good report, but it is grinding for me. It's a challenge. I would postpone and postpone and postpone until, the deadline is staring me in the face, and then from nowhere, the juices begin to flow. So that's an idea of, what I mean by your gifts, what God has put in you, what I call your divine deposits, all right? So what are your gifts, to help you, try answering these questions. What do I do naturally? Where do I excel naturally? What are those things that if I look back, people have, celebrated me on and say, oh, great, you did a great job on that. You were wonderful on this. What are those things that people have, celebrated me for? They've said nice things. Thanks, Morakinyo. Glad to be here. Same, man. Thank you very much. What are those kind of things that you've done in the past that people have said, oh, this was great. You've done it well. What are the talents that are in your DNA? What attributes, skills, or traits were you born with? As you answer those questions, then you begin to understand the issues about your gifts and your talents and what God has. I call it your package. The gift package that you were sent to the world with from God. Then we'll talk about your passions. When we talk about passions, you look back in time, all right, and do what I call a self-audit, asking, what am I naturally drawn to time and time again? What is that thing that, it's so, for example, I am passionate about seeing people discover themselves and become great in whatever it is that they're doing. I'm passionate about God, all right? I mean, my whole life, because, Jesus Christ makes all the difference in my life. So I'm passionate about God. I can go the whole length, just to do something that I feel will give Him glory. So I'm passionate about God. I'm passionate also about my family. I just discovered that, I'm willing to go the extra mile for my wife, for my children, and so that the kind of thing. And then I'm also passionate about injustice. And that kind of carries on to the issue of the problem, the specific problems you're trying to solve. Remember, there are three things: your gift, your passions, and the specific problem you are trying to solve. All right? So what is that problem that tugs at your heart? What is it that you struggle with? Everybody else can walk past it, but you will come back and say, no, I've got to fix it. What is it? What is that thing that keeps you awake at night, like they will say? All right. So, for example, like I said, I'm drawn to the issues of purpose, of direction. I like to say that I'm in the extraction industry. I help people to discover what is inside of them, and then I help them to deploy, the gift of God that is on the inside of them. All right. While I was researching for this, I stumbled upon a guy. His name is Javan Benakavich. He said, "The problems you are drawn to provide a canvas on which to design your life." The problems you are drawn to, they are the design. It said they provide you with a canvas on which to design your life. So when these three things intersect or when they converge, that's when you find your sweet spot. All right. It's at that point where money. Now, what I always say to people is that don't set out looking for money. All right. Rather, set out, solving a problem. Set out creating a solution, and then money will come. Money is always money follows value. When you provide value, money will come. All right. So don't set out, I'm looking for money. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, please feel free. This is When Men Talk with Noruwa Edopolo. It's a very, very first edition. So I really want to thank everybody who has made it onto this very first edition. I'm not sure why I'm not getting chats from Instagram. I need to check later what may be the issue there, because Instagram is supposed to, but I'm not sure exactly. But not a problem. We would find it. Usually, when you start off like this, you get hiccups and bumps. But just keep at it, and eventually things would make themselves clear. So, I had said that your sweet spot is not static. The truth is, I also have had to do a bit of introspection in the course of this lockdown. I've had to do a bit of introspection in the course of this lockdown. That's the truth. In fact, what I did, about 3 weeks ago, I got a couple of my friends together, and they found it a bit curious when I said to them, guys, let's have a session, and they were like, oh, so what are we talking about? And I said, we're talking about me, and they said, like, what are we talking about you? I said, I want us to discuss me. I want to see where I am. I want to see where I'm going. I want to see, and it wasn't easy. When you sit on the hot seat and people are querying you, they're asking you questions, and they're really digging into things you thought you had settled. Somebody's asking me, does this make sense? Do you want to think about this again? Do you want to look at this a second time? And I found the exercise quite impactful. All right. And so in a manner of speaking, I kind of, rediscovered my sweet spot. I kind of rediscovered those things that, I'm good at, I'm passionate about, and the problem I want to solve. In fact, this program that you're listening to is one of the consequences of that engagement. All right. So when Men Talk has come forth as a result of that engagement, on the one hand. On the other hand, I started something. I call it a word in season. All right. A word in season is a bit-sized message of encouragement from the Bible. I send that out every morning. I must confess to you that it's been a huge challenge for me meeting up that obligation. But you know something? I'm determined. I'm determined that so long as there's breath in me, a word in season will go out every morning. And I am so delighted that, every day I get messages from different parts of the world, and somebody is saying to me, can you please send this to me directly? Now, if you would like me to send you a word in season, typically it's about 60, 70 seconds. And in that time, we look at the scripture, we open it up a bit, and then we say prayer. All of that in 60, 70 seconds, thereabout. I don't think we've gone as far as 1 minute and 35 seconds in over 2 months that the word in season has been going on. That's another product of me introspecting and trying to recalibrate my sweet spot. So yes, you can do the same thing. It is possible for you to recalibrate and discover your sweet spot. It is possible for you to recalibrate and discover your sweet spot. It is possible for you to recalibrate and discover your sweet spot. Okay, it is possible. So if you would like me to send you a word in season, all you need to do is send me, hi Uzo, wow, how you doing, all the way from Canada. Wow, it's good to see you. Right. So if you would like me to send you a word in season, please, all you need to do is send me send me a message and I would add you. You can send me a message on Instagram. You can send me a message on my Facebook page, Norua at 365, Norua 365. That's my Facebook page. All right. So that is, in a nutshell, what today has been about. The very first edition of When Men Talk with Norua Edopolo. Now, next week, I'm going to shake the table. All right? You must have been hearing in the news the issues about rape. Yes? I mean, look at the sad story of the young lady that was raped in the church and killed in one part of the country. The one who's raping a 70 or 80-year-old woman. The ones who are gang raping and all of that. So I want to ask a question. Who's to blame? Is it the man or the woman? Next Monday, 6:30, we're going to be asking and answering that question. This issue of rape, who is to blame? Is it the man or the woman? That's our topic for next week on When Men Talk with Norua Edopolo. Thank you very, very much for making this very first edition of When Men Talk with Norua Edopolo. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really, really would love to have your feedback. All right? And also, what topics would you like us to talk about? I would really appreciate that if you can, send me topics to talk about, and we'll look at it, and then we'll make it happen. It'll be my pleasure for us to do this together every Monday evening. I look forward to seeing you again next Monday evening by 6:30 on all these channels, by God's grace. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I'll see you next week on When Men Talk. Please share the links, tell your friend about it, and let's do this again next week. Thank you very, very much. God bless you.